mais escolha. Onde é que é? Opa, hello, Ana Laje.
Hello,
Olá,
welcome.
olá, hello, Marie.
Bonjour, hi, how is this English?
Voilà. Okay, we speak English in this space. We are only 4, Teresa and me.
I know.
We are animating the group, but that's fine. We shouldn't waste time because there is very little time for all the work we want to do. So I'm going to go to the screen with, let's see, I first have to put can you put it on your screen, Teresa? The pact in English.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I'll do it.
I think I will just help Ricardo Silveira. He said he wants to be in English, but he still didn't join us. So I will try to do this for him. I think he didn't understand how it works.
Okay. So let me see.
Also, Martina.
Where is the text? I had the text before when we were in the main room, and I think I lost it by going to the...
Now. Yeah.
It's a little different from the previous time. We have joined, so some people still have the habit of the other way we used to do this change of rooms.
Are you going to do the reverse screen, Teresa, or should I do it?
I can do it.
Okay.
I will share with you. Just a minute.
So the idea of the working group is to read paragraph by paragraph the whole text of the pact. It has 2 parts. One is the text, and the other are 10 points of summary of what the pact is talking about. The idea would be to go through the document, the first part. Each one of us could read 1 paragraph, but instead of reading through, we would stop and do what Deborah suggested. Try to spend about a minute connecting what was said with some experience that we've had, whether positive or negative, so that this would, if we have enough time, would be shared with the others as a way of saying, well, when this thing happened to me in the context of this principle, I had a wonderful experience of behaving like this, or I had a very terrible experience. I failed to do what this item proposes. So I'm learning that lesson for the future, something like that. Is that clear? We don't have more than 25 minutes to half an hour. So we can also skip. We don't have to stop in each one. Do
you want to start by reading it out loud?
Yes, but reading one by one and stopping at the end of each paragraph with a feeling related to an experience.
Can you see? I think I have shared. Is it okay?
It's already there. The text is good for everyone. So who wants to start?
I can start.
Good.
Proposed Conviviality Pact, Network Articulation Building Multiconvergences. We understand that the values and practices of the world that socializes us interfere with our behaviors and our networks, even if they aim to change it. Therefore, we commit ourselves to constantly seek consistency between what we preach and what we practice, between what we think, feel, and do. This implies a commitment to self-observation and acceptance of collective monitoring so that we do not betray our goals in everyday practice.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. So the idea is, let's go right away into a feeling related to a past experience where we were challenged with this kind of thing, that is being coherent between what we say and what we do, or also trying to socialize ourselves or our families in a different way than the dominant ways that lead to behaviors which are opposite to what we propose.
Very meaningful that the document starts like this, because I think that coherence.
Louder, a bit louder, please, Anna.
Just a moment. My microphone. Please go on. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Can you hear me better?
Much better.
So
please go ahead.
I just said that for me, it's very meaningful that the document starts like this, because it's very, for me, coherence between practice and what we say and what we do in everyday life is very important. It's something that I chase.
Mm-hmm. That's great. So let's go to the second reading.
Please, Teresa, would you, we are seeing your WhatsApp.
Yeah,
I sent it's not Teresa. I don't know. WhatsApp instead of the document.
Okay, no document now. And no sound from you either.
I'm here.
Yes, okay. So are you going to put the text back on? We can't hear you. Strange.
No sound for Teresa.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Try to change.
Can you hear me?
Yes, try to put the text back.
Yes, I think I need to change the modality, the way I shared. Let me just change it.
Yes, okay.
So while we're waiting, I just wanted to mention, it's such a challenge because everything you do, everything has been so compartmentalized in our lives. So when I am a faculty, university in the US, I have to follow certain rules that may not at all fit with my beliefs and my values otherwise as an activist. So it's all the time, it's constant. And when I change, when I'm not in the US, I'm in France, then other things are happening that I may be more in tune with or less.
Yes. Very good points, polemic, complex. Yes, things are not that easy, Anne-Marie. Oh. You're right. So second point, we commit ourselves to an attitude of continuous learning of what can bring us close to the realization of our ideals. Attitude is the key word there. In this more connected and virtual world, in these new processes of citizen policy on a planetary level, we strive to humbly develop the capacity to forgive our and others' mistakes in order to collectively move towards cultural and systemic changes with which we dream. Same effort to connect with the past experiences.
Forgiveness is key. It's really important. We need to start with a lot of empathy to each other and compassion and forgiveness.
Do you see any situation, Anne-Marie, where you had to live this challenge of forgiving?
I don't have like a precise example in mind right now, but like anyone, I have been frustrated. I have been exasperated at times by the fact that we don't move, things even, you know, setbacks and stuff, and we have to forgive ourselves first of all. We to get to a place of much more acceptance of what is, and things are not going to move as fast as we want or dream.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Teresa, are you taking notes for the report?
Yes.
Okay, great.
I would like to share my experience with this item, forgiveness. I think that in the last years, we have been through a big polarity among the ideas each one has about politics. So we have extremes in every part of the world. I think that to apply this forgiveness to the others that don't think like we do is something that brings us a lot of comprehension, a much better life also for ourselves, because people don't need to be in the same page as we are. Their experiences of life, their own lives are different from ours. The education, the traumas, and this brought them to a different way of thinking from ours. So I use this forgiveness also to myself, because I don't have to be perfect to the others also, and be so ready as others are. And also, I don't treat others in this way. This is my experience with this item of forgiveness.
Great.
For me,
let's go to...
Very quickly, for me, there is a challenge between, because there are two challenges. One of them is interior. I mean, I'm very rigid with myself, so I must be less perfect. But
perfectionist.
yeah, but I think the great challenge is that we should separate in this political realm what is attitudes that are they are born in people's beliefs, that when they think different from us, and when they are when they are, what's the word in English? I mean, they are
in Portuguese.
They are affected from fake news, voluntary propaganda, voluntary ways of making others' minds. And some people are more susceptible to understand. They are more susceptible to accept being conducted because they don't reflect. So I think one great challenge is to be able to interact with other people in a way that make people think of what they are, what are their beliefs, and where these beliefs are rooted. So that's it.
Yes, I just also wanted to mention that bring us closer to who is us. Is this people who are already in the movement and we recognize ourselves because we share similar ideals, or the us is much bigger, like you were saying, Teresa, including people who do not at all think like us. What is, it's very complicated to have a us versus them. I don't like that, but we need to be more effective in what, as a movement, we want to do. So maybe we need to have a us, and in that case, we need to define it better. It's not defined here.
Yeah, I think I was speaking about the wide concept of the word.
Sure.
The wider.
But I think I have to think in a wider sense, really, and understand there are people that don't think like us.
Well, the idea of the letter of this pact is to try and promote the best values, attitudes, and behaviors, within the multi-convergence as a way of, by demonstration effect, attract people to the possibility of unification at a planetary level, going beyond the differences that separate us, like nation, like the borders and all that. They may be important, but they are counterbalanced by an attitude of what we could call solidarity, sovereignty, a sovereignty that is moved by solidarity and no longer about this territory is mine, you can't have a space here and all that. That is the point of this paragraph for me.
I like this. So let's go on.
Okay.
May I read the next?
Let's go
on. We observe that the capitalist, patriarchal, racist world in which we live has violent values that we identify and fight. This is why we are guided to concrete changes based on our own functioning that allow us to move from models of domination to those of sharing, partnership, and from male, white, and hetero-affective protagonism to colorful, multi-faced protagonism, committing ourselves to be represented in a plural, transparent, and peaceful way.
Okay. Should we go on to another paragraph, or you have any inspiration to talk about past experiences? This is proposal for us being aware of the deep change, transformation, not only social, but also personal in ourselves. Again, this dimension that the left in general ignores. We only think of changes out there, right? Mm-hmm. And here we are saying, these are all preconceptions or premises that are behind the way we act as males, as white, as hetero-affective, as dominant.
I have an issue with that, because I think domination exists in all civilizations. So there are civilizations that have been dominant in Asia, right? And they were not white. But actually the male and hetero probably were there. But the white is, because here we have we're coming from the perspective of Europe, North America. Okay, we think that domination, but it's not the only domination. And even today, China, we can think about that, right? So I think any domination.
I think this can become a proposal. We can already note, Teresa, this as one proposal for changing the text of the pact.
Okay.
It's very true and correct. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe we could add that, I don't know how. I mean, it's a bridge between the last paragraph and this one, that we recognize in ourselves the patterns that that we still carry because of our education, the way we lived up to the moment. So I think most of the prejudice for homosexuality or racism in Brazil, it's very concrete, becomes very from our way of living. It's naturalized. So maybe we could add in one paragraph or the other an effort to recognize within ourselves this patterns of being or of seeing the world that we would like to change. I don't know how to add this, but I feel this is something important.
Very good. Well, the meaning of this exercise right now, in a way, would be to lead us to that proposal you made, that we try to examine in ourselves.
I think
in
maybe
which ways, yeah.
Maybe using the word supremacism, because now we are, so you have white supremacists, but you have all kinds of supremacists, right?
Very good.
You have Sunni supremacists or Shia supremacists or Jewish supremacists among the Israelis who are dealing with Palestinians in the way we know, but they don't represent all of the category of of the country or culture, but they are there and they are so anyway I think maybe supremacism, domination, but we cannot, I think, qualify it necessarily as white, because it can be of all colors and all religions.
Yeah, it's all very clear and very to the point. So we take note to take for the re-editing of the text.
We could add this this item, any kind of supremacism and domination, and detail, give some examples, but not closed in these items. Is that right?
Because while an Israel is occidental, occidentally, oh my God, a view from
Occidental.
So
yes, it comes from the Western perspective.
The Western perspective. That's it. And you're right, Anne-Marie.
Well, Teresa, who is going to read the next? We have realized that. We have realized that only rationality. No, you can't hear me.
No, I can listen to Teresa. I can hear Teresa.
Ok.
And now,
Teresa,
can you hear
você
me?
vai falar agora ou a gente lê?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm returning. I will continue on the next paragraph. We have realized that only rationality in setting objectives, objectivity in the pursuit of their achievement, and measuring results are not enough to renew the world and politics. An exclusive planetary citizenship.
No, inclusive.
Sorry?
And inclusive,
planetary citizenship presupposes the idea that the way in which goals are achieved is already part of the contribution that one wants to make to the world. And therefore, they value the dream that's dreamed together. The expression of emotions and affectivity, sharing subjectivities, and the attitude of not allowing the ends to justify the means. This is so important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The means are integral parts of the ends. And I don't remember the quote from Martin Luther King, but he has a quote of that.
It does. He sure does. Yeah. But the fact is that there is no end. The end is far ahead. It's a project. What exists are the means. And if they are inadequate to that end that you propose, it takes you astray, away from your path to the active goal you propose.
I noticed that we use dream a lot, which is great, but maybe we should be more specific on that dream at some point, somewhere. I mean, what is the dream? So talking about Martin Luther King, he really explained what his dream was. We need to say what we're dreaming about.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So maybe we need an exercise. That's another exercise on vision.
Mm-hmm.
Long-term vision.
Uh-huh.
It's partly expressed in the paragraph when we say, when we talk about emotions, affectivity, subjectivity, but we can.
Yes, in the beginning.
We can. Yeah, I think we can work on this vision. It's a good idea to. I think it's a good idea to have this moment to explicit it better, as Anne-Marie has said. Yeah. Can I read the next paragraph?
Yes, please.
We found that even in emancipatory environments that fight hierarchies, they continue to happen by different means. The concept of leadership linked to the idea of services provided, service leadership, combined with the search for collective leadership, can help to effectively share responsibilities and power.
One thing I would do is to add responsibilities, power, and knowledge, because knowledge is a key issue of democracy, and it is highly concentrated, becoming an instrument of domination.
Can you repeat the 3 items, Marcos, for me?
To effectively share responsibilities, power, and knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And information.
Yeah. The knowledge includes information and understanding, right? And when we see the issue of the vaccine, for example, the knowledge is under patent. So different countries cannot produce the vaccines because the patent doesn't allow, it only allows that company to monopolize the vaccine. We're talking about knowledge in that case too. So Cuba and China broke this up and said our vaccines will be for every country and we won't charge anything. It will be out of the market.
Yeah.
Okay, we spoke a lot, but didn't talk about
Knowledge is more
the past.
comprehensive because
Yeah.
it includes information and understanding of what the information is about as well. And it,
Yes.
yeah, and we can speak about scientific knowledge as patents, but also maybe we would maybe we could add that the leadership also has something to do with motivate other people, and also gathering. No, what's the word for acolhimento? To
Welcoming.
Welcoming.
different knowledge,
Yeah.
different contributions.
Uh-huh.
So this makes a good leader, somebody who is able to motivate people to bring their best and welcome contributions, completely different contributions.
And I think here again, service leadership needs to be better defined also, because there are several kinds of that kind of collective horizontal service leadership. So this short paragraph needs to be expanded a little bit to maybe with examples of what it looks like, this service leadership.
One example I can give of my experience is when I was being a consultant to the trade union opposition of metal workers in the interior of Minas Gerais. We went through a process of a series of seminars to answer one question they had. It was still the dictatorship, and they were wondering if they should launch an opposition ballot to run against the official trade unionist who was leading the trade union. And at one point in one of the last seminars we had, I felt that the talks by them, the reflections and all, had come to a point where they had the conditions to answer that question. So I suggested, why don't you now meet to discuss and decide what answer to give to the question, should we launch the ballot? And they said, no, yes, but you have to stay. I said, no, I won't stay. But you have been with us all this time. I said, yes, but I should not stay. As a liberating educator, I should leave. And they couldn't understand. So we started an exercise for them to figure out what would be the reasons for me to go instead of taking the decision with them. And after half an hour, we came to the agreement that the reason, the best argument was that I was not going to take the responsibility for the developments of that decision. It would be very easy for me to push them to one decision and go away, as I was the consultant living in another city. So they understood that their role was to take over the power to decide without my influence. This was a very liberating experience for us all, of leadership, right? Educator.
Building autonomy and responsibility.
Yes.
Beautiful experience.
Okay, let's move on then.
We see that the articulation of networks in order to contribute to the construction of a planetary citizen policy depends on the realization of truly multilingual environments with people with different views of the world, different ability to express their ideas and understand the discussions, and various types of engagements for a better world. These collective environments therefore need to have qualities such as welcoming goodwill and listening skills. Yes, but here we are in breakout sessions by language.
What do you mean?
Because it's really hard when you are all together in the main room to have those kind of discussions.
Yeah, that's true.
We still are very much constrained by the language we share and exchange.
Oh, that's very true. That's why we try to expand as much as possible the group work, so that people can feel that they are participating, that the meeting is everybody's meeting, not only the organizers. So, should
maybe
we...
the world, I like very much this concept of cosmovision. So view of the world, because maybe traditional communities, they have different cosmovisions. And different views of the world it looks the same, but I like this word because I think this word concentrates the idea of very different views of the world. And you're right, the language we speak, that some way models our view of the world. So different languages, multi-language, multicultural. Is there multicultural environments? Multilingual and multicultural environments are different. So it's a little bit wider concept.
We had this somewhere, I don't remember if before or after, there will be a detailing the various multi that we are promoting in the multi-convergence, which contemplate what you're suggesting, Anna. Okay, let's move to the next. It's now 12:22. And
soon we will return to the main room.
What time?
At 20 past midday.
So 12 minutes.
So it's past already.
Yeah, I think soon we will be changed to the main room. But let's continue until
yes.
Let's continue then. Okay.
Yeah.
So next, we understand that in a truly plural environment, for each challenge undertaken collectively, there are multiple modes of conception and realization. Thus, instead of competition in single or majority truths, we practice cooperation, dialogue, and negotiation from multiple points of view and celebrate the enrichment that the different visions and talents of the networks and their participants mean.
Yes, we need more methodology to do that, because it's great. It's to have those goals, but how to do that?
Yes, there is a whole book by Philippe Pio and Deborah discussing how methodologie des groupes, je sais pas le nom.
Yeah, so we can spend a lot of time just on that paragraph.
Yeah, no, it's Ivan, not Philippe.
Ivan, yes. Maybe we continue because this one is
we continue. It's almost finished. Please go up the screen. Go ahead, any of you.
I can continue. The loving, ecological.
Too far.
Is it?
Yeah.
Isn't it here?
We
You missed
one.
one.
Okay. We understand that
Yeah.
the urgency of human problems tends
Okay.
to give us a sense of haste and limit our initiatives to short-term projects. We commit ourselves to remember that it is the short-term vision that despises the interests of the next generation and causes the very serious problems that we are experiencing today. Therefore, we will seek to combine short and long-term strategies, knowing that solid cultural changes need time.
Perfect.
Very good. Okay, we can move to the last.
The loving,
Okay, go on.
the loving, ecological, fair, and democratic world we want depends on what we practice today as people, collectives, and humanity in acts, thoughts, and an energetic vibration. May the logic of good living, therefore, be an objective that begins now and that we build an environment among us that is the exact example of loving kindness, justice, ecology, democracy, and the positive vibration that translates into the pleasure of conviviality and joint action.
I would
Yes.
use caring rather than loving.
Caring. Okay.
Caring.
Okay. Any other suggestion for this paragraph? Or feeling or?
I think that in some circles, the fact that we use energetic vibration will be seen as a little bit strange. I mean, we understand that because we are connected mind, spirit, body, you know, in energy, but not everybody in our movements
So why don't we give
that.
Why don't we give them the chance of beginning to think about it?
Yes.
Because otherwise they will never change.
We could say also, if we want to be more, you know, I mean, we can say connection, between humans and between the humans and the natural world. I mean, connection and vibration, if we want to. I don't know. I'm just thinking that for some people that might be a turn off.
And I would add attitudes, acts, thoughts. I mean, attitude is not really acts. I mean, it's an attitude towards life, and so, and acts. I mean, attitudes, acts, thoughts. I would add attitude as well.
Are you talking about?
Reconnections would work fine as well. I mean, and connection.
Okay, I took note and will take it for the how do you call them? The editors of the letter. I take note.
So let's read the commitments.
Yes.
In summary, these are our commitments. 1, always seek consistency between what we preach and what we practice, between what we feel, we think, feel, and do. Second, develop the attitude of continuous learning of what can bring us closer to the realization of our ideals.
Well, remember that we are in the moment of making specific proposals for change or improvement. So think of the reading for this from this angle.
So again, on the number 2, our ideals or our dreams, whatever, I mean, we need to be more specific before talking about the realization. How to make sure that we are all looking at the same direction here. So the long term, because we talked about the long term, the importance of long-term vision.
The idea would be to repeat, this is just the summary of the whole paragraph.
Okay.
Remember, we've already amended. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So adopt forms of representation that are plural, transparent, and peaceful, reflecting the multi-ethnic, multicultural, multilingual, and multi-gender reality of the networks present. This is a guideline. Yes, go ahead.
It's very well expressed here, this multicultural, multi-gender, multi-ethnic, but in the previous paragraph, it was not so wide. Such the concept was not so wide in the previous paragraph, but it's very well reflected here. So we could work on the previous paragraph and keep this one as it is.
The previous paragraph affirms one key idea, the attitude of continuous learning, instead of the idea, the illusion that I know everything because I'm a leader, therefore I know everything. No, our attitude is to learn from those working with us, from our own errors and mistakes. You know, all these things are part of the letter before. And now it's just a summary, attitude of continuous learning. And the other is quite complete, I agree, yeah. So 4, with humility, forgive our mistakes and those of others in order to collectively move towards cultural and systemic changes with which we dream. Just one point there, forgiveness is a tricky idea. It can involve some type of arrogance. And what we're talking about here is, but even before the mistake is made by our brothers and sisters in the multiconvergence, we've already forgiven them by affirming, I trust you did not this mistake, you did not make it intentionally or by meanness, but rather, well, they're going to cut us.
Yeah.
So it's a sort of a,
Yeah, but
pardon?
I would say forgiveness is wider than tolerance and
Much wider.
much wider. So maybe in the previous paragraph we could state that. You want to say something, Anna?
Acceptance also. I mean, we can add more things around forgiveness and empathy. Number 5 is the dreams, valuing the dreams we dream together. So again, the dream is always there.
Yeah.
And
we can say,
okay, I would